Make no mistake about it, Betty White is the reigning queen of comedy. Long before folks like Tina Fey and Ellen DeGeneres were making us laugh, she was doing her thing, and doing it masterfully. At 99 and still active in showbiz, it sure looks like White is going to continue to bring joy to the world right up until she's on her deathbed. She got her start on the radio in 1930 at age 8, and ever since, she's been a driving force in the entertainment industry. Even though Betty's such a powerhouse of an entertainer, it might surprise you to learn that at one point she considered going down a completely different career path. Join us as we take a look at what she once dreamed of doing instead of acting. Betty White's prestigious career in the spotlight. Betty got her start as an actress in 1939. She was born in 1922 in Oak Park, Illinois, and realized she had a passion for acting in theater when she was still a teen. In the 50s, she produced and starred in Life with Elizabeth. The sitcom resonated with audiences and ran for 2 seasons and 65 episodes. She then went on to land numerous roles in TV shows, movies, and variety shows. White's big breakout role, however, was her turn as Sue Ann Nivens in The Mary Tyler Moore Show, which hit the airwaves in 1973. Nivens was a kind of hypersexual cooking show host character that's often compared to the similar character on The Golden Girls of Blanche Devereaux. While White was initially considered for the role of Blanche, she was instead cast as the naive yet endearing character Rose Nyland, so she wouldn't be typecast. Since The Golden Girls wrapped in 1992, White has gone on to take numerous roles in other TV programs and films. One of her most celebrated roles in the last decade was that of her Hot in Cleveland character, Ilka Ostrowski. Throughout her prolific career, White has been honored with many award nominations and even a few wins. Betty White's childhood dream. It's undeniable that Betty's career has been successful. A quick glance at her IMDb page reveals she's amassed more than 120 acting credits. Few actors can even come close to that. Even so, it wasn't exactly the job she dreamed of doing. Rather, Betty had her heart set on becoming a forest ranger when she was a little girl. White kept that dream alive for the majority of her upbringing. The only reason why she never fulfilled this dream was because back in the day, women weren't allowed to join the Forest Service. That rule didn't change until White was an adult and already deep into her acting career. The Forest Service didn't hire their first female forester until 1957. And in 1979, the Forest Service finally appointed their first female district ranger. As of today, 38% of the Forest Service employees are women. Hey, if you're enjoying this video so far, be sure to give it a like and subscribe to Factsverse. And keep watching to see how Betty White's childhood dream was finally fulfilled in 2010. Betty White's commitment to animals and the environment. Even though Betty never got to fully fulfill her dream of becoming a full-fledged forest ranger, she has spent her life defending the environment and the animals that call it their home. White is a pet enthusiast and a staunch animal health advocate. She works with various animal organizations, including the LA Zoo Commission, the African Wildlife Foundation, the Morris Animal Foundation, and Actors and Others for Animals. While White has always been especially dedicated to preserving the natural world, her interest in animal rights and welfare began in the early 70s, when she was hosting and producing the syndicated TV program The Pet Set, which centered around celebrities and their beloved pets. From 2000 to 2002, White hosted History on Film. She took $100,000 worth of the proceeds from that show and donated it to the LA Zoo and Botanical Garden. The Forest Service made Betty White an honorary ranger. Even though Betty was forced to give up on her dreams of becoming a forest ranger in the 30s just because she was a woman, the USDA did something very special for her in 2010. The Forest Service made White an honorary forest ranger for her years of contributions to wilderness conservation. At a special ceremony, White was given a forest ranger hat and badge, as well as a commemorative plaque. White was extremely proud to be given that honor, and according to the Forest Service, she even joked she was going to wear the hat at a formal event she had committed to attending later that evening. At the ceremony, White mentioned her parents would have been overjoyed to see her receive such a prestigious honor. White's father, Horace Logan White, was a lighting company executive who passed away in 1963. Her mother, Christine Tess, likewise died in 1985. White specifically credits her father for instilling a love of nature and the wilderness into her from an early age. In several interviews, White has stated that she first became interested in nature while her family was vacationing in the Sierra Nevada mountain range when she was a child. Interestingly, after White gave up on her dream of entering into the Forest Service, she instead pursued her interest in writing. It wasn't until high school that she discovered she was interested in theater. She was further inspired to become an actress by the fact that her idols as a teen were Jeanette MacDonald and Nelson Eddy. Betty White is a Guinness World Record holder. In the 2014 edition of the famed record-keeping book, White was honored with the title of longest TV career for a female entertainer. At the time, she'd been active in the industry for more than 70 years, and as of today, that's getting closer to 80. The year before she was awarded this honor, Guinness honored longtime British television host Bruce Forsyth with the title of longest TV career for a male entertainer. Both Forsyth and White began their acting careers in 1939. Her first television performance has been lost to history. While Betty got her start in 1939, she can't actually remember the name of the program where she made her on-screen debut. She told Guinness, however, that the experience of being on TV back then was life-changing. Her first role was in an experimental television show that has since been lost to history, but in it, she and one of her fellow high school classmates sang and danced to songs from The Merry Widow. Reportedly, the show was the first of its kind on the West Coast. White then found work modeling, and her first professional acting job was at the Bliss Hayden Little Theater, which used to be where the Beverly Hills Playhouse stands today. When World War II broke out in 1939, White temporarily put her acting career on hold so she could volunteer with the American Women's Voluntary Services. Some of her assignments included transporting military supplies throughout California and performing at events to boost morale for the troops before they were shipped off overseas. After the war, White started making the rounds at various movie studios in hopes of finding work. But shockingly, she was repeatedly turned down for not being photogenic enough. That's when she started looking for radio work instead. Some of her first radio jobs included reading advertisements and playing bit parts in radio plays. She made approximately $5 a show, which at the time was decent money, but she still felt like she was destined for something greater. Eventually, she got her chance to appear in shows like Blondie, This Is Your FBI, and The Great Gildersleeve, and was even given her own program called The Betty White Show. In 1940, White began appearing as co-host alongside Al Jarvis on the live TV variety show Hollywood on Television. In 1952, after Jarvis left the show, White took over as its primary host. That same year, White co-created Life with Elizabeth with two of her Hollywood on Television colleagues. Flash forward to 2021, and Betty is still active in the entertainment industry. In 2019, she appeared in an episode of the Disney Channel program Forky Asks a Question. The same year, she appeared in Toy Story 4 as the character Bitey White, and she also had a minor role in the animated film Trouble. Now it's time to hear from you. Did you know that Betty White wanted to be a forest ranger when she was a child? Let us know in the comments section below. And before you go, make sure you give this video a like and subscribe to Facts First if you haven't already. Click the bell icon to stay updated on all our latest content.